Have you ever really thought about how money moves around the world? I mean, we live in this age of instant everything, but the system we use to send actual value, well, it's running on plumbing that's decades old. So let's dive into this because a massive upgrade is already happening right under our noses.
It all kicks off with a question that I'm guessing feels pretty familiar. You can send an email, a photo, a video to the other side of the planet in a split second, and it costs you nothing. So, why does sending money feel like you're shipping a physical package back in the 80s? It's slow, it's surprisingly expensive, and honestly, it's just plain clunky. This isn't some random glitch in the system. It's a fundamental flaw in how global finance was designed in the first place.
To really get the solution, we first have to understand the problem. And we're not talking about a small leak here. We're talking about the entire foundation being cracked. The whole global financial system is built on some seriously old and inefficient infrastructure. Let's go take a look at the world's broken plumbing. So here's how your money actually travels today. It's not a direct flight, not at all. It's more like a flight with a bunch of weird layovers. Your payment has to hop between all these different intermediary banks, all coordinated by a messaging system called SWIFT. You can think of SWIFT as basically a text messaging service for banks. It doesn't move the money, just the instructions. Each one of those stops adds time, right? Usually 2 to 5 business days. And of course, each bank takes its cut, which is how you end up with fees that can get as high as 10%. It's slow, it's expensive, and you have no idea where your money is. It's a total black box. And this right here, this just perfectly illustrates the huge disconnect we're all living with. Information, like an email, moves at the speed of light. It doesn't care about borders or time zones or if it's a bank holiday. But money is still stuck in this old school 9-to-5 world that's chopped up into regions. We have an internet for information, but we're still waiting on a true internet for money. Okay, so if the old plumbing is totally broken, how do we fix it? How do we finally get money to move at the speed of the internet? Well, the answer isn't about patching up the old pipes. It really requires a totally new tool. You could even say a new kind of money that was actually designed for the digital age we live in. And that new tool is the stablecoin. The name kind of gives it away, right? It's designed to be stable. Unlike a lot of other cryptocurrencies that are super volatile, a stablecoin is pegged to a real-world asset, usually the US dollar. So one stablecoin is always meant to be worth $1. And here's the key. It gives you the stability of old-school money, but with the speed and the global reach of the internet. It's the best of both worlds. So what does this actually look like in practice? Well, check out this new superhighway for money. It's a really simple 5-step process. You start with your normal currency, let's say US dollars. The system instantly swaps it into a digital dollar, a stablecoin. That stablecoin then shoots across the globe in seconds on a blockchain, completely bypassing that whole maze of old banks. Then, on the other side, it's instantly converted back into the local currency, maybe Philippine pesos, and lands right in their account. The whole journey takes minutes, not days. It's a total game changer. And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important idea in this entire explainer. You have to get this part. This is not about creating some new global currency to get rid of the dollar or the euro. No, this is all about an infrastructure upgrade. Stablecoins aren't trying to replace money itself. They're a new technology that's trying to replace the old, slow, and expensive network that moves the money. They're trying to replace SWIFT. Now, when you're talking about replacing a system as huge as SWIFT, that is a massive technological shift. And a change that big doesn't just happen quietly. It creates clear winners and it creates clear losers. So let's dig into the ripple effects here. What are the real-world consequences of this revolution? Well, the most immediate and obvious winners are just regular people. This chart says it all. You see that average 7% fee that migrant workers pay just to send money home to their families? With stablecoins, that fee collapses to less than 1%. This isn't just a tiny improvement. It's a life-changing one. It means billions and billions of dollars go back into the pockets of the people who earned it. But the ripple effect gets pretty complicated. For the big old-school banks, it's a classic case of adapt or die. For emerging markets, it's a real double-edged sword. On one hand, it offers incredible financial access to people who've been left out. But on the other, it risks this thing called dollarization, where people start using digital dollars for everything, which can really mess with a country's local economy. But for small businesses trying to trade globally, it's a massive, massive win. It unlocks a whole new level of speed and access for them. So what happens to the banks then? Do they just go away? Not necessarily, but their whole job has to change, fundamentally. When moving money around becomes a basic utility, almost free, banks can't make money from it anymore. Their new value, their new business model, is all about providing what sits on top of those new payment rails, things like trust, security, and making sure everything is compliant with the rules.
So we've seen how stablecoins are fixing the broken plumbing of today's financial world. And look, that alone is a huge, huge deal. But the story doesn't end there. This new financial plumbing is also a platform, and it's about to collide with another world-changing technology to kick off the next global revolution.
And here it is. This is the simple equation that I think is going to define the next decade of the internet. You take artificial intelligence and you add stablecoins. AI is rebuilding how we interact with computers, the whole human interface. Stablecoins are rebuilding the financial plumbing. And when you smash those two things together, you get something totally new, what we can call world applications. Just think about the last real walls that exist online. AI is just demolishing the human barriers, things like language and culture. It can make any app feel like it was built just for you wherever you are. And at the exact same time, stablecoins are demolishing the financial walls, the payment friction, the currency conversions, all those geographic money problems. You put them together, and you get a truly borderless internet for the first time.
And in this new world, money finally starts to behave like everything else on the internet. It just becomes another type of data. Just like an email or a photo, it gets routed, converted, and settled completely automatically in the background. You don't even have to think about the fact that you're making a cross-border payment. It just works. And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi dream. We are on a very clear path, and it's already happening. Right now, it's being used for remittances. The very next phase, which is starting, is small business trade and big companies managing their cash. And the end game? That's when the biggest banks in the world finally adopt this technology as the default way to move money, creating a truly real-time global economy.
The ultimate vision, the big idea at the end of all of this, is something you could call digital universality. This is the moment when apps and services are no longer available in select countries. They just become global utilities, like electricity or water. They're just there, accessible to anyone with a phone, and it doesn't matter where you were born or what bank you use. So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one last thing to chew on. This whole story is often told through the lens of speed and lower costs. And yeah, those efficiency gains are absolutely massive. But the really profound change, the biggest impact, it isn't about who gains efficiency. It's about who loses control over the flow of money and what that really means for the future of, well, everything. That's a question we're thinking about.